Greetings and salutations and welcome once again to the Capeless Crusaders live at the time from Empire's Comics Vault. My name is, of course, David Barry at Dr. Barry on varying social media platforms. I am joined, as you can see, there's an empty seat and a seat with a person. I am joined by one Crusader and several guests. But for now, the Crusader.
I actually have a proper name this time. This is Amy. You can find me at iJaneUbro. Not Brobot. We're going to this is Amy. You can find me at iJaneUrobot.
You Brobot.
You Brobot on all the social media things that I'm currently connected to.
I'm down with that.
Hopefully it's all me.
Hopefully. I would imagine it is.
Our empty chair of ghost encouragers.
It will be filled soon. I promise. So, if you are looking for anything related to the Capeless Crusaders, If you are looking for anything related to the Capeless Crusaders, you can find it at thecapelesscrusaders.com. That is your number one hub, your number one source for anything Crusader related. You can find all of our blogs, our news, our articles. Those are all the same thing.
Pictures
our old videos, pictures of us, our social media feeds, ways to support us. You can also find our sponsors, which are all up here.
I like that there's nobody under the chair. You should have just slid over.
If you're watching on the video, you can see these. If this is audio, you don't know what I'm doing. So
there's frantic waving.
We have a couple sponsors. First off, Empire's Comics Vault. Our home away from home, comic book store, hot sauces, and pugs sometimes hanging out in here.
Most of the time.
Most of the times, not right now, but it's because they're gravelly and they make noises. Our other sponsors, Computer Booter, local computer repair, retro video game lounge. You can go in there, you can hang out, you can play some Super Smash Brothers, you can play some PlayStation VR, you can get your old video games fixed, you can buy some new old video games, that sort of thing. If you mention us, you get 10% off. Hey. Or say you're looking for something that has 15% off, because you're a deal hunter. You can go to beardbombrush.com. Use the code CAPELESS to get 15% off. Now I know you're asking. Amy, you're over here. You're like, I have a beard.
I have such a luscious beard.
Such a huge,
beautiful,
masculine,
wait.
hyper barbarian-like beard. And you're like, what's a beard balm brush?
I need to know what this is.
I'm interested. Well, the Beard Balm Brush is an amazing product. Okay, here's what they did. They took the oil, they took the balm, they took some beeswax, they formed it into a brush. So they cut out the brush and the bottle of oil and the tin of balm, and it's all one thing. And you just comb that through your beard, one and done. It is a wonderful product. I'm working on my beard so I can be ready for my Beard Balm Brush. But you can get yours today, 15% off using the code CAPELESS.
I like it.
I'm getting good at the plug.
Especially for the beards.
Hey, not up there because we're not currently playing Dungeons & Dragons, but I like to mention them.
The one I'm excited about.
The one we're excited about. If you go to thecriticaldice.com, not Critical Role, the Critical Dice.
You could visit Critical Role, but Critical Dice
Hey, Matt Mercer, come on our show.
Hey!
But you're right. You want to visit the Critical Dice because you use the code CAPELESS to get 15% off your purchase. Hey!
Another 15%.
You want dice?
I need them.
You want books?
I need those.
You want, hooks? You want hooks for good RPG campaigns?
Oh, you serious? Is that where...
That's where Manderson got them.
Our DM, our cheeseburger DM got all of his...
The son of Mander gets his products from thecriticaldice.com. Use the code CAPELESS, you can get 15% off. Hey, that's everything.
Let's go.
About our sponsors.
Okay.
So, on this week's episode, we are, of course, going to go around the horn. We're going to talk about the comic books. We're also going to talk about some news. We got a couple good news stories. We also have an indie spotlight, a new feature segment featuring something from Kyron Silva, aka Taurus Comics. We also have two interviews. First off, in studio, we will have Dan Bethel of Long John comic fame. We're also going to have Scott Fuzzy Joseph. The Fuzzy is a nickname. He's going down to San Diego Comic-Con. So we're going to be talking about his Kickstarter for his book, War and Hope. So
that one is closest to me. I'm sorry, Dan. I'm sorry, bro.
So when we are in a comic book store on a comic book podcast talking to comic book creators,
we have hot sauce.
But amongst other things, we like to go around the horn.
I miss my old beep beep sound.
What beep beep sound? Oh, jeez. God, that just spiked the mic. No, we don't have that anymore because we have a royalty-free, copyright-free horn sound.
The vuvuzelas were fine.
We'll get a vuvuzela next time. When we go around the horn, we go around the table in a circular fashion, except for the fact that we no longer have a circular table. We never have. It's weird.
There's a lazy Susan.
That would just make us vomit. But we talk about what comic books we've been reading this week. My list is not ridiculous like it was last week. It is not over 100 comics. It's like 20. So, Amy,
Hey.
start us off.
Oh.
What you been reading?
Let's go. Bam. Literally.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I am up on our reading for the night. I read War and Hope. I'm excited to talk to Scott about it. This one is about try not to spoil it. So it's about a young lady in post-apocalyptic America.
Cool.
And she is just trying to survive one day at a time, and not like the novella, but
I was thinking of the
Netflix show.
No, the 80s sitcom.
There's a couple of those.
Regardless.
But
that's cool.
it's
We're
really
going to talk to him
We're
about
gonna
it
talk
later.
to Scott about it.
That
I'm
works.
super excited for that. And then I may have perused through Snyder's Justice League number 1 and 2. Und.
Cool.
Yeah. And I liked it. I'm just also been binging a lot of things that aren't comic books right now
Word.
because I've got a trip coming up and I need to be prepared, as Scar told me when I was younger, to deal with that. So, David.
See.
It is not 95 and counting
Better
comic
porque.
books.
It is not. I did not read 95 comics this week. I only read 20. It's not actually true. I read a lot more, but I only want to talk about 20. I'm not going to talk every 20. But last week I'd mentioned that I had gone through and I'd been catching up really big on my Marvels. Two of the things that I caught up on last week, X-Men Gold and Astonishing X-Men.
Yay!
This week I went back and I did X-Men Blue, which I remember now why I dropped off on it. Not that it was bad, but of the three,
collections?
it was the weakest. It had some really cool moments. It picked up towards the end, and I'm excited to see where they go from now. But I still think Gold was a little stronger.
What about Red?
Red is... How many issues are there? They're only like 5 issues in, right? I really like Red. I'm actually really excited for Black. Now that Black has been announced. Yeah, it's got classic Magneto on the cover, making a Metal X. I'm in. I'm sold. I'm down with it.
But you don't want to read Mr. and Mrs. X?
I do want to read Mr. I want to read all of them. I'm actually, for the first time in years, I'm excited about the X-Men comics.
Is
and
that
I think
why you were...
Matthew Rosenberg, I think we can blame him. He's the one who's doing a lot of it. And, the artist on X-Men Red, Mahmood. I'm blanking on the last name. Blanking on the last name.
That Laura cover.
Anyway, they're all great. I'm loving everything they're doing. I'm excited to read X-23, even though I don't like that she's back to being X-23. I liked it when she was Wolverine. That is neither here nor there. Yes, I'm an alumni of the Xavier Institute. So, that is what we've been reading this week. So, a new segment this week.
Because all the names that we came up with, I wasn't allowed to have.
Yeah, so I didn't make a name thing, and I haven't made a sound yet because it's so fresh. It's so fresh and so clean.
I know you think you're so sexy, and it's just so fresh and so clean.
That's what you're going. Actually, we're not going to talk about that yet because we're going to do news first.
Oh.
Hey, news!
Well,
President Trump met with Vladimir Putin today, and who knows? In other news,
that big blimp baby back.
the baby back blimp. Yeah, we can. Anyway, in the news this week, we got a bunch of it. So first off,
Strap in, boys and girls.
in a strange turn of events,
There's a turn of
Stan
events?
the Man Lee has dropped his lawsuit against his former company, POW Entertainment. It was like an
Kapow.
$8 billion
It was a hot mess of money.
lawsuit. So he dropped it. And they basically came forward and they said that they were the ones who were running his social media. Now, if you're paying attention, maybe a month or two ago, Stan came onto his Twitter and basically said that he doesn't have control of his Facebook and Instagram. And it was this whole big thing, and everyone's like, elder abuse, all this stuff. And then it turns out POW was just kind of like, no, we controlled it because of contracts. Now Stan is back in control, supposedly, of all of his social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
He's adorable on Twitter.
He's adorable. I love him. He did a little in memoriam for Steve Ditko. It made me really sad. So they now basically are doing it joint. So POW is still involved with his social media. So like articles and stuff, that usually is probably still them. But videos, like the soapboxes, it's Stan again. So Stan is back on social media. It's really good to see him.
We missed him.
We love Stan. Stan's
Stan
the
the
best.
man.
We miss Jack. We miss Steve. But we still
we
got
need you,
Stan.
Stan. Don't go nowhere.
So, in comic news, speaking of X-Men, if you've been reading all the X titles, there's been these random little blurbs at the end of kind of Days of Future Past style future with X-Men a little bit older. There's Sentinels. I know we've seen it all before a couple of times. However, there's an event coming in the X-Men universe. It is called X-Men Extermination. Get it? It's an X. Get it? Do you get it? No. So X-Men Extermination will supposedly set it right.
What are we setting right?
Exactly. We don't know. Is it
House of M again?
Is it the altered timeline that the original X-Men caused when they came forward to the future?
Is it more battle?
Did they go back and they go back? Is it another? Yeah, is it another murder world? Who
Is it
knows?
a Phalanx
Is it
Covenant?
Doctor Doom? Probably not.
Oh,
But X-Men Extermination will supposedly set it right, whatever that is, which I'm excited for because, like I said, right now I'm just a really big fan
can
of
we
the
bring back
X-Men.
the worst X-Men ever?
Which one?
The one that only had the one power to combust. That was it.
Combust and then he's dead?
Yeah.
That was a great story.
It was only 5 issues long, and I loved it.
They got you right in the heart. So, ahead of San Diego Comic-Con,
Hey,
which Amy will be representing the Crusaders at, so if you see her, bug the bejesus out of her.
you do that, I will give you one of the shiny cards that we got.
Hey, so ahead of San Diego Comic-Con, Warner Brothers released a poster for Aquaman. It's him on a rock with fish around him.
It's Jason Momoa preparing to be in Hall H on Saturday with me in attendance.
Let's say I'm like, ooh, what's happening there?
Well,
so yeah,
there's also the opportunity he might be on the evening that I have tickets for Conan.
Ooh.
So I might be in proximity and in slightly weird Aquaman attire.
Yeah.
Aquawoman. You know what?
Aquawoman.
Aquawoman. And the funny thing is, I think I'm going to wear my Wonder Woman tiara with my Aquaman gear and just be like, Flashpoint!
Yeah, all about. Oh, I like that. So
I can't find a redhead to carry around.
it's all good. But we saw a poster. It's fine. We also got a synopsis. I didn't read it. So not very good news topic at all. Last, but certainly not least, Twitter.
Hey.
You done it again. You proved why you are a wonderful and terrible place all at the same time.
Because Noelle Stevenson got engaged.
No, it has nothing. Well, I mean, it has everything to do with her, but nothing
Because
to do with
she's the showrunner for this.
Exactly, but it has nothing to do with her being engaged. So we saw the first images of She-Ra and the Power.
Is it Princesses of Power or
Power Princess? Oh, now I think it's Princesses of Power. I think you're right. My bad.
Hey, chat, if you know, give us a holler.
Yeah,
Hi,
Manderson,
chat.
where you at? Okay, so we saw the first images of She-Ra, and similar to the Thundercats and everything else, half of Twitter is like, oh, quit messing with my childhood, and the other half is like, cool, this looks good, and clearly it's not made for you 40-year-old fanboys who are wondering about the cleavage size of a cartoon character. Yeah, calling you out.
Did you
not
just
Dan.
make our,
no.
our guest uncomfortable?
Yeah, Dan. We can see you later, Dan. Bye, man.
You totally, that was me.
But yeah, so the
Princesses of Power, by
Princesses
the way.
of Power. Thank you. My bad. So yeah, it looks cool. It looks great. Like the art style. I enjoy the art style. It's what people have been saying. In their opinion, it's like it's very
It reminds me of Ming-Ju Chen.
Yeah, it's got a manga anime feel. It's got the Steven Universe kind of feel. It's got the Thundercats Go sort of feel. And I'm down with all of those. It's again, if I don't like it, guess what? It's not made for me. It's on Cartoon Network.
It's made for things that we have spawned.
Yes, and not Al Simmons, aka the Hellspawn. No, my child. She's probably. I'm going to show her this. She's going to be all about it. It's going to be great.
love it
But then
on
I'm going to
color.
probably go back and show her the original one too, because I'm like, look at this one from the '80s. It was ridiculous, but also lots of fun.
Exactly. Do you do the same thing with He-Man?
All of them. Thundercats, Turtles, all of them. Oh. So, of course, if you are upset about She-Ra, I don't care. If you liked it, cool.
We like your opinion, but just like a butt, it's yours, not ours. We're just going to be like, hey, do your thing.
I think the line is everyone has one.
Well, everyone has a butt.
They're like butts.
But hey, it's butts.
There's a lot of butt jokes right now. Yeah. So if you don't like it, you can tell us about it, and we'll gladly be like.
Okay.
And if you're listening to audio, that's a sarcastic thumbs up from me. So
Sarcastic.
all about indies tonight. We are all about independent comic book creators. We have interviews with 2 of them coming up, and now we have a new feature courtesy of our friend Kyron Silva of formerly. No,
now
Taurus Comics. I almost said
He almost was. Well, we could support the other one
Big
too.
Tree. Yeah, he was
He's a
Big Tree, and then he's Taurus. He's just making stuff left and right. He's a really talented guy. So, Kyron each week is going to give us a couple of Kickstarters, a couple of independent comic book Kickstarters that we think you should check out and support. Why? Because they might need more eyes on them. They might just be a really good story.
They might be really close to the end of their goal, and they just need a couple extra
They
bucks to
need
push them
the
over.
help. So,
They might also want you to stare at their stuff and be like, hey, you cool, bro. I
you
like
cool, bro. So, we have 2. First off, welcome to The Void. Welcome
what?
to The Void. Welcome. It's written by Chuck I'm going to say Pinot. Pineau.
Hey, Chuck.
Hey. And drawn by Sean Barber and colored by Kitty Pierce. Genre is dark fantasy and action adventure. I'm down with it.
like
It is an ongoing series. An unassuming dishwasher, Manny Johansson, gets thrown into a dimension called the Void, where anything you can imagine becomes real. Others know about the Void. Can Manny stop them from abusing it? Can Manny stop himself from abusing it? I'm into that. I'm down with that.
I imagine can become.
Anything.
Oh, it didn't happen.
Oh,
Never
well,
mind.
I mean, we're not there.
I'm
We
sorry,
don't
I got
know
really
about
I
it.
got really excited.
I was about to say, like, what are you doing? the dead air. So, the rewards for this Kickstarter. Are you ready for this?
I'm not.
They have a comic book.
Okay.
Duh. They have a T-shirt.
What?
You can get digital comics from other independent creators because they're doing a little bit of
they're
crossover with each other.
swapping?
Yeah, they're swapping.
Shut the front door.
You can get stickers.
Yes.
You could be drawn into issue 2.
Wait.
Yeah, you could be drawn
Wait.
in it.
Wait.
Wait, what am I waiting for?
Could they draw you as a character from another sequence? Perhaps a interesting rendition of your preferred character of choice?
You got to be more. I have no idea where you're going
I
with
just
this.
wanted to know if they maybe if you got behind the Kickstarter that you could be Swamp Thing.
Oh, okay. Who knows? I mean, they probably have copyright issues, but they can make me, green, I guess. So there is 21 days left to go as of the 12th. So that's not anymore. But it has already reached its original goal of $1,800. They now have a stretch goal they're working on. They've already got postcards and art prints. So they're currently sitting at $2,635. They're doing really well. So still a great idea to support them because they can do more. They can give you more. It's obviously pretty popular. So it's a good idea to maybe throw in a couple bucks, see if you can help them out. But you ready for this? No. If you back Welcome to the Void and Taurus Comics Saw the Lightning Wielder, you can get a bonus crossover print.
What?
Right?
Why am I getting extra free stuff for being awesome?
Because the world's not as terrible as it's pretty bad. Sometimes the world is
It's something.
few and far between. The world's not a terrible place. So you should check out Welcome to the Void. We're going to put their website in the description of the episode because it is at winks-designs.com/WTTV/Kickstarter. It's a little bit of a mouthful. So we're going to throw that up in the description for the episode so you can check it out. You can throw in some money. The other one, American Revere. That is the second Kickstarter. This one, again, it is a really long website name. So we're going to put the description in the link below. Created by Carlos Rafael and Amber Gregorio.
That was Mbit.
I think that might have supposed to be an R. Who knows? It's written by Carlos Rafael. No, you're right. Mbet Gregorio is the artist. Action sci-fi spy thriller. Ooh. It is a 4-issue miniseries. Okay. Sam Walker was a Miami police officer and a family man. His life was changed when his wife was killed.
Aww.
Let's see. One night while chasing down who he thought was the murder of his wife, he is gunned down and killed by the drug cartel. He wakes up in a government medical facility. He's given an option to become a beacon of order and justice, a.k.a. American Revere. With a change in administration, American Revere is decommissioned. I like where this is going. His decommissioning is the plan of the evil Necromage. I'm into this. American Revere #1 follows Walker's rise and fall as a superhero. I like this because it's like government Spawn. That's why I'm all about it. Follows him as he eventually peels the layers of lies and injustice in our political system.
Peeling the layers of lies and injustice in our political system.
Only that was really happening.
But that's a really good sentence.
If you could actually make that happen, man, I'd really appreciate it. So, rewards for this Kickstarter. You get the comic book.
Will you be revered?
You will be revered amongst its creators. You will get some variant comics. They got stickers, bookmarks. They got prints, t-shirts, coffee mugs, postcards. There's so many things. You can get like that with the cheeseburger, but probably with their character on it. So it is not funded yet. It is it is 22 days to go as of the 12th. So that means it was 4 days ago. So they're at 18 days. So they need your support. Their goal is 3,000. They're currently at 2,475. So they have not unlocked any of their stretch goals yet. So you should. I thought that was an awesome story. I'm probably going to go throw some money behind that Kickstarter tonight because supporting independent creators, local creators. That's what we need to do. So that is our independent spotlight for the week, but we're going to do more. We're going to spotlight some more independent creators, like one who is in studio about to come up and sit next to me right now.
Don't make him run.
He can walk at a leisurely pace.
hasten.
We are, of course, talking about Dan Bethel of Dan Bethel Comics. Dan, come on in. Do you have a company?
I don't have a song for
I did want to
him
hit the
anyway.
sponsors.
Let's see if we can refocus.
very
Let's
confusing.
focus on. Can we fix this so it focuses?
No,
on?
I'm not going to.
camera am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
yeah,
were the beautiful
camera
blur.
12. So Dan, welcome.
It's
thanks
good
for
to see you. I
coming
haven't seen you since our graduation.
on. Oh yeah, yeah.
Doing all right?
Yeah, I'm, I'm
good.
doing okay. Only talked to Magneto like twice, but he's giving me some pretty good
He's
job
very
offers.
distant now.
I know,
It's
but
unfortunate,
who knows?
so.
I might throw in. So Dan,
Yeah.
you are of course the creator of Long John comic, which you can get
At Empire's
Empire
Comics.
at
Comics.
Empire's
Yeah.
Comics Vault.
On
So
our local
Indeed.
wall.
on the local wall. So how long have you been working on Long John?
I've been working on okay. There's two ways to approach that, right?
man.
Two ways.
So, when did I come up with it?
Yeah.
And when did I start working on it?
Ah, okay.
So I started working on it. I started publishing it to the website because it is a web comic primarily. I started working on it or publishing it in 2014,
Okay.
and kind of take big breaks between issues, so to speak, because I have to work, and it's hard for me to both make a comic and do my job at the same time.
And that job is.
I'm an English teacher or professor.
You're a
We were talking about that, yeah.
You're a professor.
At
You're a
Sac
professor.
State.
Ah.
So-
I see you being an alumni really paid off.
Oh yeah,
giving
no,
you
yeah,
your
yeah.
professor title.
Well, when you can't make it in the real world, you just go back to school. And
Those who can't
unfortunately-
do teach.
Indeed, and unfortunately, there were no opens at Xavier's school.
He doesn't need many English
no,
teachers.
No, and
Not
I
yet.
can't. Yeah, ever since M Day, I lost a.
M Day. M Day
very
was
sad.
rough.
Anyway, but yeah, I came up with the idea. It sounds silly, but it's absolutely true. I had the idea in a dream, which, if you want to say that an idea of a story about a cowboy in his underwear came to you in a dream, I haven't talked to my therapist about it yet. Is all I'm saying.
I kind of still like it though.
It seems like you're self-medicating
Yeah.
in a way. You're putting it down on paper.
working my way through it. Yeah, but yeah. So I came up with the idea, or I had that idea back in like 2002.
Wow.
And it just kind of was always there, and I've always been noodling with it through the. And it was something I started thinking about when my previous comic was coming to an end, which was Eben 07, a comic I did with Eben Burgoon. And we did that for 6
The
years.
tape guy.
Indeed.
That's
Friend of
really
the
that's
show,
that's
Evan Burgoon,
friend of the show.
Indeed.
Hey,
And so-
Joseph's not
Hey,
following. Hey.
And we, when that came to an end, I'm like, well, what do I want to work on next? And Long John was kind of the only thing I was really thinking about a lot at that time. And so that's.
Nice. Well, actually, that leads into my next question.
Mm-hmm.
So, how long have you been working on comics in general?
So basically, it started with when we started Eben 07, and that was back in 2007.
That makes
so
sense.
last year, actually, it was weird to realize I've been doing comics in some shape or form for 10 years.
That's kind of fantastic.
Yeah, I think I'd have more money.
Well,
But
I mean, really?
no, yeah, you're fair enough. Yeah, yeah.
This isn't the '90s, man. You can't just hop in and then become a billionaire and
No,
then get
I
out.
can't.
No,
No.
you can't. No.
No.
Rob Liefeld, he's in Todd. They're
Right.
on their way. So then, what got you? What made you want to start making comics? What influenced you in creating comics?
Well, my background comes, and this probably makes a lot of sense if you've seen my style, especially with Eben 07, which was much more cartoony, although my current stuff is very cartoony in its own right. Comes from an animation background as much as I have one. When I was taking animation classes at a junior college I was going to, and I got into this internship with this startup video game company. They needed
Okay.
animators, and I was doing character design. And it turns out animation is hard, and I was very slow.
It's okay.
I draw very slowly, and so they moved me over to storyboarding, which I took to much more effectively. And when Eben 07 started going, it was years later. I started noodling with the idea of Eben 07, which is a character and story Eben and I came up with in high school. Actually.
Nice.
I'm like, I want to do animation again. I miss it. It'd been about a year, no, like 6 or 7 years. Woof, I'm old. And and I'm like, I want to do another animation project. Let's use these characters that came up in high school. And then I'm like, oh yeah, animation's hard, so let's make it a web comic. And those early strips are bad,
Yeah.
but that's part of the process.
Yeah, exactly.
So 2007, 2006 is when I started
Okay.
really thinking about making comics.
So you went to high school at Evan then?
Yeah,
Interesting. I did not know that. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
The local ties, local connections.
indeed.
So now, what kind of comics inspired you? Did you read comics as a kid?
Yes.
Okay. So what comics got you, creative? What made you want to go into animation? Like what comics inspired you when you were young?
Well, my very first comic ever was X-Men #1, 1991 by Jim Lee and Chris Claremont.
Ooh.
And it was kind of hard to go back.
That's a good
from
year.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I didn't know how comics worked at the time. so I didn't know when issue 2 came out. So I just didn't get it for a while. But the very next comics I would get were at the Walden Books at the local strip mall.
Oh, nice.
And so that's where I picked up like the 4-volume collection that First Publishing did of the Ninja Turtle comics, where they colorized them, and also the next X-Men comic I got, which really changed my mind about what comics were completely, and I was probably still too young to really understand what the comic was doing, was X-Men: God Loves, Man Kills. And I'm like, this feels important.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think, and especially with those early Turtle comics as well, which are very sort of self-serious and have a lot of quiet moments, it really influenced how I approach comics, and kind of I got caught up in the 90s craze. I went with everybody when they left Marvel to go to Image, and I'm looking at, pouches and blood everywhere. But I really was looking for comics with those quiet moments in it.
Okay.
And that's why I think I really gravitated towards the X-Men, because yes, they have superpowers and there are, shooting lasers out of their faces, but they also had those moments where they're playing basketball or just like mad at each other and storm off into their own rooms. Like that's that sort of drama and family drama that really appealed to me. Nice. And it was really influential to sort of how I approach the stories I do.
So now, would you say that the artists and writers, was it Jim Lee and Chris Claremont that made you want to make comics?
Yeah. I think when I started drawing shortly thereafter, I wanted to draw like Jim Lee and failed miserably.
Oh, well.
Everybody wants to.
Everyone wants to draw like Jim Lee.
But I think I started tending towards animation and my sort of simplified and exaggerated cartoony style because of things like Bruce Timm, the character designer behind Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
And just recently I realized how influential Gargoyles was. I was watching Gargoyles with my wife recently. I'm like, oh, you know what? Goliath is basically a purple long john. I should probably give some money to the Disney, because I guess I totally stole how they draw.
They're good.
Oh yeah,
I think they're set.
make a Gargoyles movie. Disney.
Bring back Gargoyles,
please. And so I think that simplified style is really appealing to me because detail. Again, I'm a lazy artist, and so the more simple things got, and I was always focusing more on figure and movement and stuff like that, and animation. I didn't have to draw backgrounds in animation,
right?
So it really energized my attention to sort of the acting side of comics. How do I get people to show their emotions, to show the story, that kind of stuff? And that really was influential in not only the direction my art took, but how I tell stories in comics.
So now, were you, as far as your own comics you've created, who wrote Ebon 07? Did Eben write it and you drew it?
We co-wrote it.
You co-wrote it,
Yeah.
okay. And then Long John, you have a co-creator?
No, it's all me.
Co-writer?
No.
There's someone on the website.
There is someone else on the website, yeah.
Who's the other person?
The other person on the website is my buddy Josh. I had him draw a short story
Got it.
featuring one character, and he's actually going to be coming back pretty soon for another story with that character.
Nice. Okay, so it's all you.
It's all me.
It's the Dan Show.
It's the Dan.
Yeah.
It is the Dan Bethel show. We're the Capeless Crusaders, but it's the Dan.
Yeah. No. Hold on. Let's run with this. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Dan's Capeless Crusaders.
Sponsored by Dan.
Sponsored by Dan.
Dan.
Ed Long
Check our
John.
head.
We're gonna we'll throw you up, we'll
Just
throw
my
a
face.
placard up there. So now, in your, do you like writing or drawing more? Which one do you
Writing.
prefer?
I'm
Really?
a writer first.
I mean, you're an English teacher.
Where's the disappointment
Dun, dun,
camera
dun.
when I need it? Button.
Fine. Now, do you have any advice for someone who wants to start making comics?
Yes.
Okay.
You're looking at him.
That's
He's
all I
trying
need.
to
That's
make
all.
eye
I just.
contact.
That's all I
Yeah,
wanted
we
to
can
know.
talk afterwards if you want.
Nah,
No,
sweet. Appreciate it.
No. The best advice, and it sounds completely trite, but just do it. As
Nike,
philosopher
you're just
Nike said, just do it.
So you need to
She's
throw some
winged
money at
victory.
Nike and Disney now.
Right. So get the
Okay.
shoes, get the swoosh.
Yeah.
And Wing of Victory? I
Yeah.
was
Now
talking-
the only way to get good at comics is to make comics, and to fail a lot.
Nice.
And that's
at
why
that part.
I would also say the other thing to do, I think I would recommend this completely for anybody starting comics, is to make it a web comic. Just like make a page and put it up, and let people give you feedback. You probably won't get any feedback,
Right.
because unless you say something completely salacious or you're super good, it'll just be floating in the internet ether. But at least you get. It gives you a point to say, I'm done with this page,
Right.
And that's where a lot of, especially young creators or new creators, get hung up, is that they draw a page or 2 pages, or they get to page 4 and like, I've already grown as an artist, and so
Right.
let's redraw page 1. Like, no, forget that. Just get the pages up.
Page 1 is done.
Get it done. Just get to a point where you can say I'm done, even though it's not perfect, because
Nice.
there's no such thing.
I like that.
Except for X-Men #1.
Except for Chris Claremont and Jim Lee.
Right.
So now, how do you feel? Do you feel like there's an age where it's too late to start drawing?
No.
Never too
No.
late to create art, dude.
I'm asking. That's why I'm.
Are you feeling old, bro?
You're
You're the baby here at the table.
I stopped drawing when I was a kid,
Okay.
and I've wanted to get back into it, but it's just like. I think the part of the problem is because I'm so into the comic book medium.
Right.
I look at everything and I'm like, why even?
Right.
You know, like
mean,
why
You're
even hop?
intimidated by
Yeah. Why start?
Man, he's intimidated by
Why
you.
start?
I have a-
Dad, you're. I was looking at your. I'm like, that's the kind of art that I would love to have in a comic that I would create.
Well then, I can just sell you the IP.
Sweet,
Yeah,
sounds
no.
good. Thanks.
No, I have a good friend named Jason Tudor, and he has always been wanting to make comics his entire life, and has always been creative. He was a writer. He was a journalist in the Air Force, and
Wow.
when he kind of got out of everything and was just kind of looking for something to do, he started his own comic and started as a web comic, and now that comic, which is called Vorpal, it has a home with an independent publisher.
Cool.
And it's giving him the opportunity to grow, and there are so many companies and people out there that want to work with independent creators that you can find a home if you, one, try hard enough, two, keep making comics, and three, which seems to be an advantage you have over me, is that you are good at talking to people and getting out there. So as long as you get out there and just make yourself known, you'll find an audience, and you will find, in theory, a home if you just keep at it. Just keep at it.
Now, as far as are you a fan of, like, not I don't want to say copying, but would you tell a young artist, like, you know, like would you tell someone to trace another art style, or would you say, like, read this book, do this? Like, I know some people tend to say, oh, if you're going to write comics, read Bendis's book, you know, Words for Pictures, read Alan Moore's book on how to write comics, and so on. Like, do you have is there like a, hey, look at this artist and mimic their style, or watch Jim Lee's Twitch streams and learn to draw like Jim
Well,
Lee,
he's
feel
still-
bad.
he's
Or-
still
or is it
bad.
just draw? Like, are you of that, the more abstract mindset?
I would do all those things.
Okay.
That's the thing. I mean, when it comes to the writing aspect of it, this is one of the things that especially writers that want to learn the medium, it is the same case with art. It's like, what tools do you use?
Right.
What's the format?
Right.
And I hate to tell
What
you,
brushes do you use in
right,
Photoshop, Dan?
It doesn't matter.
Oh.
Right. Just kind of like with musicians, and this is dating me, but remember when, like, the White Stripes got huge?
Yeah.
They were using crappy equipment.
Right.
And yet they became
That's what
rock
they had.
stars, right? And the same thing is, like, there's no right way to format a script for comics. Just write it, as long as it's clear who's talking and what goes in captions and stuff like that.
Right.
Just get a process that works for you. And as long as it works for you, and you get to make, not to sound like a broken record, and it keeps you making comics, then,
Yeah.
then it's working, right? Then it's the right way.
Nice.
So there's no wrong process.
I like that. That is some sound advice.
Right.
Now, as far as your projects, so you say you take long breaks sometimes between.
Yeah.
What are you working on right now? Is there more Long John to come? Is there another comic that you've got coming?
Yeah, there's more Long John to come. Right now I'm working on like I said, a short story that features one of the characters from Long John, a character named Hellrider Jackie. She's an ominous. Onomist.
Yeah.
She's an anonymous. She's an onomatopoeia.
Bang! She is an ominous figure from chapter 1.
She's not a John.
No, she is not. But she is definitely leading him down a path.
Nice.
And I want to focus. She has a whole story on her own that I want to tell as obliquely and as abstractly as possible, because she sees the world in a very specific way, a very disturbing way. And that's why I have my friend Josh draw it, because he can draw messed up things.
Nice.
And I am not as creative as that.
Okay.
And so the way it's working now, I'm looking forward to it, because it's 10 pages, all double page spreads.
Ooh.
And
Wow. That's
and
impressive.
we're doing a little different. The last time I gave him layouts of all the pages, and he would just kind of work from those. This time I'm actually drawing all the stuff, but leaving space for him to draw his messed up stuff. But he's like, when we were talking, because he inked actually 2 pages from chapter 3, and it was awesome. Like, we've known each other for 25 years. Why haven't we ever, like, worked together? And it ended up beautiful. Like,
Nice.
wow. And we realized that I like to draw the stuff that he doesn't like to draw, and he likes to draw the stuff I don't like to draw. That's
perfect.
And so I'm going to draw the stuff I like to draw on these pages, send it to him. He's going to draw the stuff he wants to draw, and boom.
That's the olive rule.
Yep.
You know.
You're the
What?
two
Your
best
par-
friends that anybody can have.
Your partner likes olives and you hate olives, so you order
Pickles.
a dish with olives. And
thought we were going
it's
to-
the olive rule. It's the
It's
olive
pickles.
rule.
It's pickles.
I thought we were going down like a Popeye, like kind of.
Popeye olive oil.
Yeah.
I was getting a little weird.
Yeah.
Oh, Popeye.
So, should we now? Are you going to be having like a Kickstarter or anything for that? Or are you going to be just doing digital? What's the plan as far as?
No Kickstarter plans at this point. I don't think I have the constitution for it.
Okay.
But who knows? There's 3 books available at Empire's Comics Vault.
They're all over there.
They are. And once
Please
I get the
forgive
short
our
story
blurry,
done,
we will
these
totally-
kind of constitute an arc
Okay.
in the story.
Yeah.
And so with this second short story done, it would probably be 130 pages at that point. That would be a good
And they're
trade
thick.
kind of thing. Yeah.
It's solid. I'm down
And
with that.
so, who knows? We'll see if Kyron can convince me. And
There you go.
He is good at that.
right. And but right now, no plans for that. I just kind of make the books as with the time I can, and just print them on my own, and hopefully do well at the shows I go to.
Nice.
So
So we do have a query from the chat.
Hey.
Because I poked them with a stick.
They're
Okay.
weird sometimes.
No, it's okay.
I kind of love
you
them.
don't
though.
have to take any clothes off.
I
if
am
you don't want to.
I am a university professor. I am used to weird.
He is professor.
Yeah, there is a
Not of
professor
the
that doesn't
weird.
wear shoes, and he looks like Gandalf.
The gray or the white?
Yes, the hippie.
The
What?
Gandalf the gray or Gandalf the
Yes,
Oh.
that's my point.
One
He's-
had shoes, one didn't.
Nope. Yeah.
Okay, so Son of Mander would like to know
Mm-hmm.
what race and class would you be in D&D? And then
Was there an opening in the party?
And,
old nerd.
And Damers, there might be. I'm currently floating down a river. And
Emotionally.
Damers would like to know what your alignment is.
My alignment.
Alignment.
So you've got race and class and alignment.
I am neutral good. I'm
He could take my spot.
There you
and
go.
the last time I played D&D, I was a half elf ranger.
Ooh,
Nice.
I love a good half elf ranger.
When was the last
Well, we
time you
should talk.
played?
That's like 8 years ago.
Man,
Was it oh, what's his name? Did you ever read any of the D&D like the Dragonlance novels?
No.
The
Thank you
Dragonlance
very, very
novels.
much.
There was a half elf ranger, and he was like everyone's goal in that because he was just perfect.
Ah, right.
So
It was glorious. And they also want to know what wit. It says wit, not what.
Well,
Which
That's
colored
a bad
dice
thing to do
you
for-
use?
what colored dice do you use?
I actually have a set of like smoky gray dice. They're kind of like they kind of look like marbleized. It's
Yeah.
nice.
Nice.
They're in a blue bag somewhere in my desk.
Any more D&D questions?
See, look, they want him to join the party. Apparently, I'm dead.
Yeah.
So
No,
let me-
you're not dead
no,
yet.
No, this is why I can't play D&D
I-
because this happens every single time. Is that I'm not good at thinking on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
I need to. The
Yeah,
reason
you
why
are.
I write because I need I just
You have time.
regurgitate stuff out
Right.
and then I can fix it later. But what happens, especially if I'm playing with a bunch of people that really like to role play, is that I'm like, oh, I'm obviously out of my league here. So I just back up and just start drawing everything, which maybe isn't
That
the reason.
actually is
no,
kind of fun.
I
You
love
could be
that.
A mute,
I
you
would-
could be a mute elf ranger.
There you go.
And you're just like,
roll,
"Pictures!"
just roll the dice
Right,
and then
right.
draw. I'd be down with that.
If he's rolling for initiative, is he drawing for it too? Do you just
Hey,
get to
you
draw
know.
your crit?
That'd be
Right.
weird.
Your natural 20.
It's like, how do you
drawing 20s all
how
the
do you
time.
randomize that? You're like it's amazing.
He's like, it's Wile E. Coyote moments.
There it is.
There you go.
I can draw little slips of paper with all the different die sides and just throw them in the air.
I
See what
like
happens. Yeah,
this.
there we go.
See, you could think on your feet just fine.
Yeah, you're pretty creative.
I'm sweating.
Yeah, it's really
Nobody
uncomfortable.
can tell.
I'm gonna go cry in the corner after this.
Do you have a crying corner?
Yes,
Always.
we always have one.
I make one.
It's opposite from the disappointment corner. Now, Dan, where can we find
camera's not
all of your content? Where does everything live on the internet?
You can. That's a
For you.
bigger question. Okay,
For
good. I'm like, I don't
you.
know.
Where does your stuff live on the internet?
Everywhere it wants to be.
You can find my stuff at longjohncomic.com.
Dig it.
That can send you to all my places, but I'm on Instagram at dbethelcomics. I'm on Twitter at dbethel. And Long John has a Facebook page.
Nice.
So I think it's just facebook.com/longjohncomic, something
Nice.
like that. I think those are all the big things.
Sweet, that's all of them. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, it's
thanks
a
for
pleasure.
hanging out. Dan Bethel, everyone.
Do you want a high five or handshake? I don't know.
Both.
Yeah. You
That was
tried. You
awkward.
just.
I got
This
it.
Ugh, I'm gonna be.
Dan Bethel, everybody.
Yay! Oh, sorry.
No, you what?
No, I
Oh, you
spoke
yelled
to
at the
the
mic. Don't worry about it. It's not that big.
I
So
like
this-
the
the-
mic.
Yeah.
You
just-
can hang out in our green room.
The
There's-
jump pod
there's
is out that way. and
There
then-
might be some
Yeah,
croissants.
and then no, we don't validate parking here. The Mediterranean restaurant next door, Shop.
There's also the liquor store down the corner.
Yeah, they're weird. Dan Bethel, everyone. So,
He actually peeked up for that one.
so now our next interview is going to be remote. So,
Not that he is remote, but he's...
I mean, he is. He's in Bakersfield. That's kind of remote. So bear with me as I ring a ding ding.
our super, super special guest. All the way, who might be in the chat room. Possibly. Perhaps. Just maybe. Wait, is he still in the chat room? He might be in the chat room. I can't tell. Ringing.
There he is.
Wait for it. That's us.
No, that's still us. There he is.
Yay!
Hang on, I'm gonna move your window over here so it looks like you're sitting with
in
us.
the chair, kind of lower him.
You're kind of sitting in the chair right now.
Yay! It's so nice. And look at the background additives we get for him. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's like, this guy.
So, hey, you guys. This is our super, super secret special not secondary, man, I messed that up. It's our next guest.
Cut, take two.
Scott Fuzzy Joseph. So, yeah, look at the happy. You're so happy, dude.
I'm always happy. That's there's not enough time to be sad.
That is a wonderful way to look at the world.
With the beard, he's not allowed to be sad.
Yeah.
It's true.
So now, did you meet him at the same time, or did you meet him before I met him?
I had met...
It was the same show.
It was at Silicon Valley, right?
I knew you before Silicon Valley.
Was it?
You remember him from a show,
Did he?
but that's when we actually made friends.
Okay, so that's everybody who comes to my table becomes a friend. I mean, and don't get me wrong, you're amazing. No, but that's the thing is, it's I find too much at shows people are always sitting down drawing, like in the artist alleys, and not really engaging. And I think that's something that I do differently. And so it's like if you're at the table, you are the most important person in the world for that moment. I've had shows where my wife has come with me, and I'm like, hey, just so you know, if someone comes to the table, you don't exist. And just because I want to be able to give you guys the attention you deserve. And by the way, Dan, same comic book that got me into reading. There was so many similarities with Dan and I. By the way, it's hilarious.
So we could just repeat his interview and just have your face over the top?
Pretty
Cool.
much could.
All right, we're done. Good night, guys.
Except for the D&D character. So.
It's bad. Okay, so I know that Barry has been dying to ask you, because he didn't ask you when he first met you at Silicon Valley, where does the fuzzy for your Fuzzy Joseph come from?
So,
It's not just the beard?
What's that?
It's not just the beard.
No, partially. So, before comic books and teaching, I worked in a tattoo shop in Colorado Springs, and in that industry, everybody sort of gets nicknames, and my nickname was, while I was apprenticing, was Fuzzy. And yeah, I mean, it kind of works.
Yeah, it functions. Follow-up
Yeah.
question: do you still do tattoos?
No, and the reason I don't is I was tattooing a buddy, and he flinched, and the needle jumped and went along my finger. And so if he had anything, I have it now. He didn't, so that's good. But that's a very real thing that does happen in the industry. And I have two little girls, and I want to stay alive as long as I can.
I never even thought of that as a thing like that.
Yeah, that's the danger of it. And then like a good tattoo artist, or one that has common sense, would then take that machine, not the machine, but the needles out, change it, put a new needle in for the person, take care of their whatever blood situation, re-glove, and make sure everything's good to go for the patient. Not patient, the
Guess.
Subject.
patient. No, it's surgery, right? So yeah, there's that.
Oh.
There we go. That explains it.
That's happy.
That's all I needed to know.
Yeah. So no, not anymore. No.
Nice. Okay.
They were just like, and bad story. Okay.
Yes. Go for it. You're good.
Just making sure the lag isn't as bad as when I did an episode with Manderson. So I'm like, this is nice. I can hear you. It's not that bad for latency. How long have you been creating comics for?
About 4 years now. I've been doing comics. A friend of mine at the time was like, hey, let's do a comic. And so we did an ash can and then a one issue book together, where I wrote and illustrated and he edited, and then that went weird.
Like fun weird or weird weird?
No, not good weird.
Oh.
So yeah, so and this is a tip for everybody who's looking into making comics. Contracts are big things, even between friends.
Yeah.
And
is it in an NDA? Can we not talk about it?
No, I don't know. Screw it. All right, let's talk about it. No, so my first panel at Comic-Con that day, I got sent like a cease and desist on it because anyway, it got sad. It got sad. The friendship ended because of it. But if he's listening, I would love to reconcile that friendship.
Back to the fold.
That's weird. Is that a weird thing to do right now? Like,
nah.
just like,
no, we're good.
Let's just start over, buddy.
We're a place of healing.
Let's start over.
That's why you're in the special chair.
That's it. Am I looking the right way?
Nope. No, look the other way. Look the other way. There you go.
No, but the current story that I'm doing now, let's go back to happiness. Like the War and Hope has been going on for about 3 years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, was drawing something that, like, with tattooing, was it just kind of like an obvious next step, or were you drawing while you were doing tattooing?
Oh yeah. That's, I don't know if you know this, but tattooing is a lot of drawing. And so, no, I'm sorry, I'm being a jerk now.
Is it? You want to try to mansplain that again?
Yeah, mansplain it to me.
No, I've always drawn, so it was just a given thing. And growing up in the late, being born in '83, so like I grew up with Thundercats, with Silver, with He-Man. He-Man came out the year I was born.
Wait, did you just bring up Silverhawks?
Yeah, dude, Silverhawks. The best.
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Right?
I'm down with that.
Oh, it was a great show. And then Ninja Turtles, and then our X-Men that we grew up with. And so that whole world of amazing stories and fantastical creations and fantastical characters was just thrown into our laps.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what got you into comics was, did I hear that right? It was the X-Men #1, Jim Lee and Claremont?
Yeah, actually, yeah. If seriously, every year at Comic-Con when I go, for the years I've been fortunate enough to go, every day I would find the Jim Lee panel where he's drawing, and just sit there and just turn to putty, really. Yeah, Jim Lee's X-Men is what really did it.
Do you follow him on Twitch?
Oh, I'm terrible with Twitch. Like, I think I'm becoming that old man who's just like, technology? What's that?
That's okay.
No, but when I do, I'll pull up a lot of his YouTube videos, and I'll play them in my classroom, which is fun, so the kids can see how the process works for different artists.
Nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
Are you okay, David?
Yeah.
You just started cheesing really hard.
I don't know why I started cheesing really hard. I'm going to drink from my mug now.
I don't know. But yeah, no, Jim Lee's X-Men was huge. And even the animated series was a big part in my childhood, really. I remember doing the Book It Club for Pizza Hut because they had the X-Men VHSs.
Right.
Exactly.
And I was like, I'm going to
that.
read all the books. Like, give me a book so I can get it, so I can get that little paper, turn it into Pizza Hut, go play Street Fighter, and get my X-Men VHS.
That was the most late 80s, 90s thing I've heard in a really long time.
Was it
just
just
that
strips?
Phrase.
Go get my VHSs? Or
Just that whole thing. That whole thing. It just
made you happy when guys were
it
great.
makes me happy.
It was the best time.
Yeah.
It was no responsibilities. It was, I really feel that late 80s, early 90s was what our pop culture is now. Like that's everything is based from there.
Right.
Or a lot of it is. That's why stuff like Stranger Things, which, did you see the new trailer?
Yeah.
I can't wait.
But they said it's coming out a little bit. It's going to be put back a little bit. They're like, hey, here it is, but it's going to be coming out later.
I will wait.
Oh, 100%.
See,
Yeah.
that's good. So since your favorite comics when you were a kid versus now, are they paralleling? Like, are the reason that you've picked the ones that are current because they feel like the old ones, or?
I went for the really, the 90s was the extreme. Everything was extreme, right? Bob Lightfield's Pouch Yeah, I would, but I'm holding. I want to put DMX now just to make it get more hype.
There it is.
But yeah, no, I like the extreme thing, the angst, right? Everybody was looking for their heroes. That was the appeal of He-Man, which thanks to the Toys That Made Us documentary, I know that He-Man was because little boys wanted power, they wanted to be in control, and that totally makes sense. And now I go for different emotions. I like seeing people be people. I'm not so much a fan of the heroes that are gods sort of things. Though, I mean, if they're done right, they're perfect. Like Batman, the reason he's so amazing is that we can all empathize with that. He's a human, so we don't have to think, well, if I was a superhero or Superman, I could just fly away from that problem, or so on. How do we deal with it?
So you're looking for a more emotional connection now with your comic books than
Yeah.
you were when you were a kid.
More grounded.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
More
Something
grounded,
that
less laser beams.
But I like laser beams.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
But
laser beams are fine when they're used correctly.
Well, do you have some
Right.
favorite laser artist, writer, laser beamers?
What does that even mean?
I don't know. I just
No,
wanted to
I
ask
don't.
if you had any,
don't.
like, do you have any favorite artists or writers, maybe with or without laser beams? I don't know.
You know who my favorite artists are becoming are so I joined CAPS recently, which is the Comic Art Professional Society, back in September, and getting to know a lot of the art, like Sergio Aragones is a member, and he's our vice president. But just listening to these old timer stories, I'm starting to fall more in love with the history of their process, and just these little stories, these nuggets they have from being in the industry so long, more than even the art. So like hanging out with like William Stout and Sergio Aragones is just, it's awesome.
Good.
I hope
I'm-
that
sorry.
did that answer that? I'm not sure.
No, you did fine. It was good. So, you're big. So when did yes?
Take two.
He took
All the
my
time.
iPad,
All the-
so I'm distracted.
You got the questions. I'm the chatting.
The chitty chattery. So, who have you been your biggest influences?
Rembrandt.
Michelangelo.
The turtles.
Well, no, Rembrandt. I think I teach high school art, so a lot of what I look at daily is that sort of stuff. But if you look at the traditional like Renaissance pieces, the use of black and the darkness and the light really, I think is not misunderstood. What's the word I'm looking for? Not acknowledged as it should be for comics, because if you don't have strong blacks, you have nothing.
Have you met I'm blanking on her name.
You got really excited.
Christine Balog?
Thanks, dude.
No, okay, so she's a local art historian and writer. She comes to Empires a lot because she also is creating a trading card game. But her like focus is Caravaggio.
I knew it was starting with
nice.
the C and it was
Yep.
not Casanova. So I was really.
And
I love you, Dan.
she loves to talk about how like the way he used black, everyone was always like, oh, it's this darkness, it's this absence, and it's so much more than just empty space.
Yeah, if she's at, get her to go to SAC Anime. I'll be up there for
Nice.
SAC Anime.
Yeah, she would love to chat with you about that.
In other words, you're responsible for that.
I'm responsible
You're
for that.
gonna make
I'm going to
friends.
connect everyone.
That's actually
Record
kind of a
that.
great thing.
Okay,
Record
put your hand up this way, and we're going to high five. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Okay, that was kind of weird. We did it.
That was really good for a clip. I'm gonna get that.
Yeah, clip that.
Clip that.
Keep going with the questions, Amy.
Okay, well, since you brought up Comic Cons, how do you feel about the direction most of the cons are actually taking, being more focused on celebrity or pop culture versus actually, getting out there and meeting comic book creators or comic books specifically? Like, how do you feel about the consistent changing? It's not even demographics; it's just the flow.
Whatever.
The focus.
Whatever gets people in there, I think it's the thing is, I don't mind the celebrity stuff so much. What I mind is that we have right now. There's a lot of there's one con in particular that's popping up a lot. They have a new show every weekend, and it's not a real. Oh, do I want to play politics with this? It's not a real con.
Right.
It's more of like a swap meet sort of thing.
Okay.
Okay.
And I worry that it's going to give people a bad outlook on conventions.
Right.
Because like a convention to me is this place where everything's happening. Like it's whatever I'm into is here. It's this bubble, right? It's this bubble where it doesn't matter what's going on outside. It doesn't matter what your political background is, what your religion thing is, whatever is. We're all here in this bubble. We all have some interest. It's the Disneyland thing. It's
the
I'm
bottom of the
probably
well for the
only
Goonies.
What's that?
It's the bottom of the well for the Goonies. Down here is
Yeah.
our time. Up
Yeah,
there.
exactly. It's there's no need for the sadness. But I think with the celebrity shows, that Fandemic, Fandemic, it was
Wizard World was their Big Papa
Yeah.
company, which exploded in a million pieces.
yeah. I like the art. I think we need more art at shows, less of the same vendors.
And that's because my kind of, not my issue, but it's kind of like I go into Artist Alley and it's like there's less and less of the Fuzzy Josephs and the Long John Dan Bethel, and there's just, it's not the, I know that Prince, like you have to have Prince and stuff because they you have to make money.
No, there's a heavy head
Well,
chicory.
I can
Commissions all day.
but I feel you. No, I don't like that. That's where it's gone. You know, here and there, like having Prince. You know, obviously, like I mean, like I loved that. Why am I blanking on his? I'm terrible with names today. No, Mitch
Gerard.
Jared's whatever. He's drawing Batman. Like I had her get me his print because I loved it and that was super cool. But he's also there
It was
like
the panel though from the comic.
he's the
book.
panel. He's also talking about the comics. Like a lot of those people.
Established person
Yeah, a lot of those people who are selling prints are just kind of like
on that property.
right,
The big thing.
right.
I'm trying to get away from doing fan art stuff, just because it's if you ask me to draw Deadpool, I'll draw you a Deadpool, but I didn't work on Deadpool. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like I feel shady. Integrity's a big thing. So like some of my original art goes for the same price as a print. So it's like I don't understand the process of it all.
Right.
Luckily, since I make my living outside of it, I don't have to rely so heavily on that. I think that's a thing too.
Right.
If it's your job, you need to do whatever you can to put food on the table.
Right.
Yeah. So nothing against print artists. I know some amazing print artists.
Yeah.
But it's not my thing.
Yeah. Well, and I wish I could see more like actual like comic creators at a Comic Con, but like you said, like some of them they can't get by. Thank you, Ghetto Pikachu, for the follow. They can't get by on just their comics alone, and that's the way of the world.
Could. Like the thing is, a lot of these print artists, I would love to see them do a book because they could. It takes a lot of time though.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
So while we're at it, since we're talking about your work, you gave me this beast, which I had also bought the first 3 when you did originally. Yeah, see,
Twins.
We're book buddies, twins. Yeah. So actually, you have a Kickstarter, if I am not mistaken. Give us the deets, bro.
Details on my hand so I wouldn't forget. Yeah, it's at 40% right now, and it has till August 27th.
Okay.
And the goals, it's $6,000, and the reason for that is it's a 110-page book. For my print run that I have to do, my minimum print run is, and I'm so open with costs of things with people, it probably makes people mad, who are trying to hide it. So it's about $4,000 that I have to put into just printing alone, and then the rest of that is for all the extras and all the things like that. One thing I do that's cool is, and I'm doing it with this one too. If you look on the inside cover, there's a whole list of names. I can't open it with one hand. I can use my beard. There we go.
There you go.
You can't see it because my lights are too bright. Yeah.
All
put
those
it on yours.
people. Can you see mine?
Yeah.
A little bit?
Yep.
All those people are people who pledged on the Kickstarter. My big thing is if you're supporting me, I'm taking you along for the ride because that's important. And
There's
$5.
families in here.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom's in there. There's one that says mom.
That's awesome.
Yeah, right. So, because I asked her, I was like, "Do you want your name in there, or do you?" And she's like, "No, I want it to say mom." Thanks, mom. That makes me look really professional. No, but it's luckily I've had a really good support system with it and stuff, and yeah, the Kickstarter. So yeah, there's that, and it follows up from the first book. One issue that I had brought up to me from the first book was that there wasn't enough character development, is what someone said, and I get that, but for me it was very much throwing you into the story and rushing you along, and there was no break to even breathe. I mean,
No, there's not.
what's that?
Oh no, I agree. There's no
Yeah.
break. There's
No.
you're moving from. You're like
Yeah.
you just keep trucking, and it's good for that. I can agree. When there's space to breathe and there's space for more character development, but because the way that you wrote it and the way that it flows and it naturally progresses so fast, you can't sit down and have a time for these characters to just kind of meditate. So maybe you could give them a rundown of the story so far so I don't spoil anything.
So it's a apocalyptic story. It's happening during the end times. So I went with a very. Is it okay that I look so relaxed on this? I'm using a laundry basket to lean on right now. How classy
Ooh.
is that? So it's the end times. Clara, it's about 3.5 years till this Antichrist character, anti is the word, not anti, Christ character appeared, started basically making hell on earth, and now we're just surviving. And we live in these underground cities that are built, so it's almost like this spire that goes deep into the crust, and then extends upward. And then the rest of the area is this barren wasteland. So we have lots of areas that are open once we're on the surface, and there are some scenes we're slowly getting to the surface in this story. We're in hiding. That's where the name of the story comes from. The warren being like a rabbit burrow, right? Oh, that's the warren, and how we as humans are the lowest on the totem pole, sort of thing. Yeah, I don't want to give away too much. I compare it somewhat. It's like The Walking Dead meets Supernatural.
Cool.
Yeah, that's
There we-
one way to do it.
Down with
Yeah,
that.
right. And in the second volume, we get a little bit more into the occult and more into the supernatural elements that are taking place. We even, and this isn't even a spoiler, it might be, Lucifer shows up in the second volume, and we start to see what his plans are.
He's my
And we're-
favorite.
What?
He's my favorite.
Oh, he's
Always
so,
interesting.
He's so
I'm-
pretty.
so
and the
pretty.
direction that I'm going with his pages, because we have him leading his army in hell, and the way that I'm going to be coloring those is very monochromatic with it, lots of reds, and it's going to be something different that I've done. Yeah, the art style in the book is very choppy and very rushed, but it's to add to the urgency of the story as we're running through, as we're moving from point A to point B to point C, as we're just trying to survive.
I dig that.
Yeah.
So in the book, I think you put it on the last page of volume 1. You said this was inspired by your girls? Your kids?
Yeah, so, well, sort of. So, Clara, the reason I went with a female lead for the story was I have 2 girls, and they're 8 and 6. And I want to make sure that if they look back on something, they see that Dad was doing something good. Also, did I write that?
You did. It's literally like the last page of volume.
Yeah, right. I wrote a little like soapbox thing where I'm just like, hey guys, thanks.
Or was
Yeah,
it? Yeah. The fun
Yeah.
stories to tell your daughters.
Yeah, well, it's fun, and it's something that was a piece of me, and I want to be able to show them that if you want to do something, you can do it. One thing Dan said earlier was the best way to make comics is to do it. That piece of wisdom was given to me as well by Chris Ryle. You may know him from IDW previously, and so on. But yeah, that was the only thing that's going to stop you is you from doing it, and that's not just comics. That's anything really. Yeah, dude, you got to do it. Are you wanting to write, or I'm going to interview you now? Are you wanting to write or illustrate?
So
Or both?
I want to start drawing again because I drew a lot as a kid. That was my escape. When kids would make fun of me and like give me mean nicknames, I would make those into characters.
I like that you didn't beat him up like I did.
No, that came late. That came in high school. Once I got big enough, then I stopped drawing. So that was a problem. But like I would, because I was, a fluffier kid, they called me Marshmallow, and I didn't create the helmet and become the EDM DJ. Instead, I drew marshmallows, and I would draw like anthropomorphic marshmallows. And not that I want to bring those back, but like I would do that, and then I did like a bunch of like tracing like sci-fi characters in like summer school, back when summer school was fun and not required because you were failing.
Right.
And at some point, just like playing guitar, I just stopped, and I've always wanted to get back into it. But
What's stopping you?
what's up?
What's stopping you?
What's stopping you?
I think I don't know where. Like I was asking Dan, like I just don't know where to like start. Like it's like, do I watch YouTube tutorials? Do I buy a book? Like I think that's the problem. Is I'm very academic sometimes in my approach. Like I'm like, I need to learn how to do this.
If you're academic with it, you want to get out of that comfort zone, because you're going to rely on that as a crutch. So I would challenge you to go to like a Starbucks or something, and just try to draw the people around you, and just try to draw things. Like if you're sitting at home, draw the cup sitting on the table. Little things. It's practice. It's all repetition. Get a sketchbook together. When they do the Inktober thing, I make my students do that.
Nice.
So that's drawing something every day, and they have a list of what they have to go off of.
Right.
And just draw everything, man. It's there's so much around you. Right now, I'm looking at a fireplace. I'm sitting on the floor in my bedroom right now, and like everything I see, I'm like, okay, I can see that. I can see the vanishing points of this room, right?
Yeah.
Everything around you could be drawn.
Nice.
See?
Because I got the writing part. I have dozens of scripts in my phone. Like I have like 5-6 page arcs ready to go. I just am like, it kind of goes back to when I mentioned when I stopped playing guitar. It was I stopped playing guitar because I joined a band with my friends and I didn't need to play guitar anymore. But it was always kind of like in my mind when we were like, oh, we really need a drummer. I'm like, oh, I could learn to play drums because we needed a drummer. And also because I had in my mind the way the drums were going to sound. I was like, well, we have to. So it's kind of like that with the stories I've written. I'm like, I bet I could find an artist. Like I know great artists like Dan Bethel and Scott Joseph, and I know all these guys. But at the same time, I'm like, I have a vision. It would be nice if I could just draw it myself. But
Try to give yourself just an ash can to do, like a nice 2-4 page story. Get that done, and get it out of your system to show you that you can do it.
nice,
Yeah, aim small and build up from there.
sweet.
See, and Dan totally agrees. There's aggressive
I'm getting so
head
much
nodding.
inspiration here right
Yeah.
now.
See, oh, look at the support.
Yep. What's nice
Support.
is that I feel like he's in a similar tree of me. It's we want to see more people doing this, because it's. Did I hear he's an English teacher?
Yeah.
He's an English professor.
Awesome. Sorry, professor. Perfect. Well, so
He
you have
doesn't care.
a teacher telling you to do it, and you have an art teacher telling you to do it. So get her done.
There we go.
Did I just really Larry the Cable Guy it?
A little bit.
We're just gonna let you do that.
I've had
Dan.
worse.
Oh my gosh! I live in Bakersfield. It's okay.
You live in Bakersfield, and Tim the woodworker lives in Bakersfield too, right?
He's there anymore. I think he moved north. But yeah,
Oh.
no, Tim and I are buddies.
Love
Yeah,
Tim.
We're buds. He pledged on the Kickstarter.
Nice.
See?
I love Tim. I think he might be.
not in the chat
I don't know,
tonight.
he usually sometimes he's in the chat on Monday nights because he's randomly cutting stuff and doing stuff.
Nope, he's not in chat. So, do you have any future projects besides the BGS Volume 2?
Finished this book, and I have another story that I'm working on, but I can't talk about that one. Where I'm just going to be doing the art and helping along with the creative process. It's going to be fantasy based. That's what I'll say.
Fantasy or high fantasy?
Like high fantasy. So that'll be fun.
Down with it.
So I'll be pulling on a lot of my old D&D experience and throwing that in there.
Oh, D&D experience, you say?
Yeah, so we're going to be building our world, and that's the funnest part. That's what we're doing right now. Is we're building the world for
Love
it. So we're
world
building
building.
the different races. We're building the mythos and everything. It's great.
Yeah, so the chat wants to know the exact same question that they asked of Dan. Apparently, because they're dying to know your race, your class, and your alignment.
So if it's generic D&D, Dwarven Paladin.
That's kind of fantastic.
Fantastic. And I mean, obviously the race, the alignment would have to be lawful good.
Okay.
But if we're doing like Eberron, then Dwarven Fighter. I play dwarves a lot.
It's not just the beard.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Or Human Swashbuckler was a fun class
Nice.
in race because you get that extra feat being a human, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
That's like the best thing I've ever heard somebody call a dwarf their human sword.
Down with it.
But dice color, I use purple dice. I have purple with gold numbers.
Purple and gold, not purple and white.
Fancy. Oh, are you judging my purple and white dice?
I'm just asking.
Yours would be much easier to read then.
That's true. All my fancy dice, if the paint has started to go away, the black and the white, they're solid. They never go away.
Are those the dice that have the 20 painted on every single side?
Is that where you have that?
How else do you think I win everything?
That's it.
Is that why
Yep.
I'm drowning?
That's why you're drowning and I'm leading everyone to victory.
Victory?
Victory.
Jerk.
My bad. I'm not British.
Is there any?
Let's see.
I think the last thing. What, you want to know where?
Where can we find all your stuff? Where does everything live?
Yeah, I usually do it shows. I try to do a lot of shows here in California. Also, fuzzyjoseph.com. And there's a reward actually on the Kickstarter where if you don't have the first book, you can get the first and second book together. And every single pledge that gets like something shipped to them does get original art sent to them as well.
Cool.
Which is something that I just, once again, it's that thing is if people are supporting me, then I need to do whatever I can to make them feel even more so that it's worth it. So there's that going out. During San Diego Comic-Con, I'm going to be live feeding from my Instagram at Fuzzy Joseph as much as I can until my battery died. Then I go to backup batteries and so on. Original artwork with everything. And every inside cover. Did I draw a fiend on the inside cover of yours?
You did.
My little fiends.
He's
Did I do a
scary.
fiend or yeah, it's scary. As it should be. But yeah, if you like angels and demons and people trying to survive and people dealing with emotions, the reason we went apocalyptic, and by we I mean me. I don't know why. My editor Alex is amazing, but I had that thing of when I had my kids, it was that whole protection thing kicked in, and I realized the appeal of things like The Walking Dead is, what would I do to provide for my kids in the most extreme situations? All these people who have dealt with like hurricanes and stuff like that. If there's a can and the beans in a room and you come in one door, I come in one door, I'm gonna get that can of beans. And so that sort of mentality. I mean, we deal with some serious loss in the first volume.
It's all over the place.
Yeah, it's all over the place. It gets pretty graphic. The way the color palette works is it's a lot of black and white. And that's because of the bleakness of it all. But then also when color appears, I want it to stand out. And I know we're trying to close. I'm sorry that now I'm rambling again.
You're good.
But one thing with that is, did you notice the cussing in the story?
Where you were very asterisk-y?
Yeah. So do you want to know the reason for that?
No, well, yeah. I wanted to be a surprise, but let's do it.
Okay, so the reason that, so it's bloody as heck, right? But then whenever there's profanity, I use the old school, like, asterisks and @ signs and stuff like that. And that's sort of Clara right there trying to hold on to this bit of morality, this bit of good still, because we start to see her get darker and darker as we go. And in Volume 2, you're going to see that a lot, too. And so it's this whole thing of, in survival mode, where does your goodness start to fall away, or can you hang on to that? Yeah.
We're all parents, and we're just
Yeah, but so now we're just thinking now we're just like kids. Like
Yeah.
things.
Right?
fur babies count, Dan.
What just happened? But yeah, so that's Volume 2. We have like 4 different arcs that are taking place. We start to learn more about the Veil, what they're doing. They're this kind of weird collective that runs this underground city of hope. And they mess with things that they shouldn't mess with. That's as spoilery as I'm going to get with that.
Nice.
We deal with Clara and her crew. That's the second one. We deal with Lucifer and what he's doing. And then we start to go to the surface because towards the end of the first book, we introduce Corinthian, which is this dude wearing a toga and like a sci-fi helmet and carrying around an angel sword. Spoiler.
Oh, it's shiny.
Dude, it's rad and it's super cool. But like, what's his deal? What's going on with him and his army on the surface? And are they going to take the Earth back? I don't know. I know.
Yeah, you do. You don't lie to us.
But what's cool with this is that there's an end goal in mind with it. So the second volume's near done, and the whole thing will span 5 volumes. So over the next 3 more years, the book will finish. And then I think that's important. A lot of these times we don't have endings to stories anymore.
Right.
And after that, I'll move on to something different. But I tried working on a new, well, aside from the one I'm doing with my buddy, because he's my attorney, and this is the cheapest way to pay him. Ha ha!
Wow.
Sam, you're
Well, it
amazing.
works.
Sam, you're amazing. But I want it to finish. I want it to have a nice finish. I want to have a planned finish. I don't want it to just waffle on. Yeah.
Nice.
Good.
Dig it. So you're going to be down in San Diego. Amy's going to be down in San Diego.
At booth number 3915.
3915. Amy will stop by.
Do you know who Shag is?
The
Shag's artist. He's amazing. Last year I geeked out at his booth because I didn't know he was there, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, Shag!" In like complete fanboy mode, right?
Mhm.
And he was super nice. I bought one of his art books, and he signed it and stuff. And now this year I'm right across from him. So
it's just going to be a lot of you like this.
Yeah.
Like that.
No, it'll be cool. I'm excited.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll be there the whole time. So stop on by, and maybe I'll draw something Swamp Thing for somebody.
He's like, yay! Amy couldn't get any of the signings for
High
Jubilee.
Yeah.
So
Oh
Alright.
boy, swampy. Awesome. Well, thank you, Scott Fuzzy Joseph, for coming on. We will have all the information for Scott's Kickstarter down in the description of the episode. Scott, thank you for coming on. Have
Oh, my
fun at
pleasure,
San
guys.
Diego, and we will talk to you soon.
I'm doing wait.
Oh wait,
Wait,
hang on,
you
hang on,
have to
hang
do
on.
that thing.
Hang on. Oh wait,
Wait,
there it is, there it is. A little bit closer, a little bit closer.
Lean. Go that way.
Me?
Yeah,
You.
yeah, you a little bit.
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep.
There it is.
Aww.
That's about as good as we're gonna get, and it's
now
gone.
it eats each other.
All right.
Awesome. All right, man. Talk to you soon.
Have a good one.
Quit Skype.
Quit Skyping.
There we go.
You should get rid of that.
Go away, window. Creepy window. There it goes.
There's a lot of clicking.
I'm always the best at the thing. Anyway,
You're learning.
I'm learning. Man, this was a great episode, wasn't it,
Actually,
Amy?
it was really fun. And I like that everybody was like, David, do you know what you should do?
Create.
You should create.
I'm
Do
always
you-
looking
Do you know
for-
why you should create?
Why?
Because you're creative.
Thanks.
Oh.
I'm pretty talented. I know. I'm kind of the best. Anyway,
Yes.
that about wraps it up for this week's episode of the Capeless Crusaders. So let's run down all of this. First off, our sponsors. Wait, let me.
You want to start with the
There.
tippity top?
We're gonna top at the tippity top at the tip of the top of the.
Tongue in the teeth.
Yeah, there we go. Empire's Comics Vault, local comic book store. They have pugs. They have hot sauce. They have Long John, aka Dan Bethel's book. They also have all the other indies and locals on the wall, along with everything else that you can want to track down. Computer Booter, local computer repair, retro video game store, and video game lounge. 10% off when you mention the Capeless Crusaders. Beard Balm Brush. Boom. Use the code CAPELESS. Get 15% off your beard balm brush. Get your beard managed, beautiful, silky,
Or somebody else's beard.
or somebody else's
Silky.
beard. Because Amy's got known.
I've got no.
She's got known beard.
I've got
Noon beard.
Noon beard. Noon.
Also, if you were looking for some dice and some books and some materials for being a dungeon master, you can go to thecriticaldice.com and use the code CAPELESS for 15% off of your purchase there. Amy, you gasped, but everything okay.
I was really excited, but also there might be somebody else that wants me to sponsor them in the chat. It's Ruru.
Oh, there we go. That doesn't make any sense at all.
I don't know, but I got excited. It was
Anyway.
good. And why the hot sauce, you might have.
So, if you go to thecapelesscrusaders.com, you can find anything related to the Capeless Crusaders, our blogs, our things, our social medias, our previous episodes. You can go back and watch our D&D episodes and catch up for the next one.
You can read the articles.
The articles.
You can get intimate with the Steves, maybe but just by staring intently at his picture of our About Us page.
You can do that if you
He
want
was
to.
very pensive.
So,
you all were.
for the Capeless Crusaders, my name is David Barry at Dr. Barry on varying social media platforms. I am joined by my Crusader in Arms.
Yay, I have arms. My name's Amy. You can find me at iJaneURobot on all the social media, including, I think it's on my PS4. I don't know. Occasionally, I main as Arisa.
Games.
On occasion.
Oh, you main as Aretha?
I like her. Also,
cool.
I'm slow.
That's
it
okay.
makes me okay. I cosplay as May, but I main as Arisa.
That's interesting. Hey, thanks to our guest, Dan Bethel,
Yep.
artist, professor, extraordinaire, Long John Comics, extraordinaire. There it is. Scott Fuzzy Joseph, creator of Warren Hope. Also,
Art teacher,
creator,
bearded
art
man.
teacher, our bearded man, and creator of his own beard oil. So, for the Azorian one, Anthony Steves, the most electrifying man in all of podcastdom, at Tall, Dark, Not Ugly, aka Tom, on everything, on everything. And the son of Mander, aka Manderson, our DM and Superman
Also
nerd.
soldier in sign language. So.
Hey, that actually works out because Son of Mander is kind of like barbarian-esque soldier.
Okay.
Anyway, okay. So,
Okay. Thank
Thanks.
you, chat.
in the chat, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being active. Thanks for kicking around. If you're watching this on Twitch, you can drop a follow. You can hit the subscribe button. You can go to the donate button. You can go to our Patreon. You can give us some money. That's what I'm talking about here. Give us money.
He wants to do suave commercials for his hair because
love
you
to.
will be like, if your donation. Look at them locks, bros.
Anyway.
And chicks.
You could also,
People-
if you're on YouTube, you could like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening to this on iTunes, Stitcher, whatever podcast app you use.
Podbean?
Like Podbean, like, comment, subscribe, give us the 5 stars. Do all those things if you want to. If you don't, whatever. So,
Whatever.
thanks for hanging out. For the Capeless Crusaders, a good night.
Good night.
Button's not working.